So this is the risks in activities for OAA. The first sport is bouldering. So this is a form of rock climbing that's performed without the use of ropes or harnesses. So it can be done in artificial climbing centres, so where the walls are built inside, or it can also be done outside in natural areas, just climbing on any kind of safe rock face or cliff face. So this is the risk assessment for bouldering. So a couple of risks would be falling onto the floor due to a grip slipping. So this will affect the climbers. The controls that are in place are that there's safety mats, no one stands underneath the climbers, and you can also get chalk for your hands. So this has a risk rating of 6. And other comments could be that mats should all be checked, signs up around telling people not to stand right underneath, and make sure that the boulders and the grips are tightened. Another one would be that the boulders, like the grips, aren't tight, so causing injury there for the climbers. So they could check the boulders before climbing and having mats below as well. Other comments is that they should have a rota for checking the boulders to make sure that they are all done. And the risk rating for this is 3, so they're just the other risks that you can read. So the personal protection equipment for bouldering is the main one being shoes, tight clothing, chalk and chalk bag, and hairband. So for these, you can get specific shoes for rock or bouldering that help with grip. They also recommend to wear tight clothing so this doesn't get in the way when you're climbing and getting caught on the grips. They also say that you should have chalk and a chalk bag to help with grip, as it creates more friction between you and the boulder. And if you have long hair, then to tie up with a hairband to keep out of the way when climbing. So for the emergency procedures when you're out climbing in natural environments, you should make sure that you stay calm first and not stress about the situation. Check that the injured person isn't in any danger as well as yourself, and then go through the whole Dr. ABC to assess the situation so you know what help you need to get. If the weather is bad, then it's not good to go off and find someone like help and leave the other person, because that can make it more dangerous. So the best thing to do is make a fire and shelter, as that will be very helpful. You should also try and work out your location and try and find a way that you are able to get back. So getting exact coordinates where the injured person is when you go off to find help, you know exactly where to come back and look for them. You can also signal for help by using things like fires and flashlights. So the environmental factors with rock climbing or bouldering is that it ruins the natural rock, or the nature on the rock, So any shrubs or little animals that are growing and living on the rocks get damaged or like pulled out when people are climbing on them. Therefore it could stop animals coming back to the rock. It also ruins the shape of the rock through erosion where people are climbing on them and making footholes, or putting footholes, like climbing in them loads and causing it to erode away. The next sport is skiing. So this is a form of recreational activity or competitive sport in which the participant skis, using their skis to glide down the slope. So this can be done on open mountain ranges, off-piste, or in ski resorts where the slopes are man-made. The risk assessment for this, the first one being falling off the ski lift. So this could be affecting the skier and the people below the lift. The controls in place are that there's safety bars on the lifts, so people can also check the bars before the lift goes up. So there's always someone at the bottom of the lift, like a person manning the lift. Other comments for this is that there should be signs on the lifts to sit still and not shake the lift, and make sure that your bar is down. The risk rating for this would be a 6. Another risk could be falling over due to the slope being too steep for your ability, so this could cause you to break your leg or something. So the people at risk is not only the skier but the other people around, because it could cause you to ski into them or take them out as you're falling over. So controls on the controls in place are that on all the slopes there are clearly signposted down the side with what level the run is, so this makes sure that people know what kind of slope they're about to go down, and they should also make it clear what the different colours mean. So the other comments is that they are the poles at the top and all the way down. The risk rating for this is 9, and then there's the rest of the risk assessment. So the equipment for skiing is quite extensive, as it is could be classed as like an extreme sport due to the conditions. So you need like your basic ski jacket, trousers, boots, gloves and socks just for keeping warm, because obviously it is in the snow, so if you are to get into any danger you do need the correct sort of clothing that's going to keep you safe and warm. And then you need other things like skis and poles obviously for skiing, and helmets for safety. If you are to fall over and hit your head, then obviously you have a helmet to protect you. The emergency procedure for like a skiing accident is to first stay calm and just check for any danger around you and go through the Dr. ABC. If you're off piste, then check the weather, make sure that you and the other person are going to be safe, work out your location and what's close to you, and if there's any way of getting to somewhere safe and knowing where that is around you. But if you're on a piste, like in a ski resort, it's a lot easier. You can notify one of the ski patrol people and they can come down with a little skidoo and safely get the person to the bottom or airlifted off the slope. The environmental factors with skiing are that because it's obviously up in the mountains, alpine habitats will get kind of harmed and disturbed, because they have to compact the soil to then where the snow is then laid on top and compacted down with the machines. There's also a lot of trees that are cleared for the slope runs, and this can also cause avalanches, which is obviously a big snow free fall down the mountain, which can cause harm to the environment and any people that are on the mountain. So the next sport is skydiving. So this is jumping out of a plane and parachuting to the ground. It's normally done above 13,000 feet in the air and can jump from planes or helicopters and sometimes even hot air balloons. So this is the risk assessment. A couple of the risks are colliding with other divers and being knocked off course, so the people at risk are the skydivers. The controls in place are to obviously jump at different times, and other comments are that they advise them to stay clear of each other when they come to land, so the risk rating for this is 3. Another risk could be a faulty parachute causing difficulty when landing. This will put the skydivers at risk. So the controls in place are that companies make sure that they only sell approved parachutes, and divers should be competent in how to use them. Other comments are just to make sure that all parachutes are checked before they are used at the start of the day. So the risk rating for this is a 6, and then they're the rest of the risks. So the equipment for skydiving is obviously a parachute, a jumpsuit, an AAD, an altimeter, goggles and a helmet. So the AAD helps deploy the parachute if you're going too fast. So that's like a big safety thing that's really needed, and also an altimeter, so it tells you the altitude that you're at, so you know when to activate the parachute, as they tell you the value that you need to get that down to before you open the parachute, so it's safe. So emergency procedures for parachuting. All parachuters should carry a reserve parachute, so if the first one is faulty then they have a backup. They should also use the steering cables to stay safe when landing, and land in big open fields or lakes if they need to, just so they're not landing in built up areas. They should also bring a compass with them for their location, and some sort of signal, so if they do land away from the base they're able to find their way back. The environmental factors with skydiving are that obviously the plane fumes can cause global warming, and it can affect the birds due to the noise and the flight path of the plane. and it can damage the fields and environment and the animals there when they're landing, because the big parachute obviously takes up a lot of space when it lands. The last sport is windsurfing. So this is a water sport that involves sailing in water with a paddleboard and a sail, and it can be done in the sea or artificial lagoons. So this is the risk assessment. So one of the risks could be hitting your head on the sail. So this puts the person sailing at risk. So the controls in place are that the sails are fitted with foam, like a softer material around the metal bar. So if you are to collide with it, it kind of has some impact with it. And obviously, sailors also wear a helmet. Other comments with this would be to check all the sails beforehand to make sure that all the foam is correctly on and in place, and just to debrief everyone before about hitting their heads on the sail. Another risk could be falling off the board. So the person at risk is the person that's sailing. The controls in place is to show everyone how to safely fall in if they feel themselves falling. So if they can feel themselves leaning one way, then just to jump off rather than to keep leaning and having the sail fall on you. Other comments would be to stay in a lagoon or shallow waters while you're still learning and likely to be falling off more, just to make it a bit more safer. So the risk rating of this is 3, and they are the rest of the risks there. So the equipment for windsurfing is obviously a wetsuit, helmet, life jacket, and special shoes can be worn as well. So these are all just kind of things to keep you safe when windsurfing. So the wetsuit, obviously it's going to be cold in the sea and in just open lagoons anyway. The helmet if you're going to get hit by the sail or the board, the life jacket if you fall in and you're in strong waters, it's going to help you, and the special shoes for grip on the board. The emergency procedures, so obviously following this kind of basic looking for danger, Dr. ABC, and staying calm. And then so other points with this would be not to go into open waters by yourself. So if you are to get lost and fall off, you're with other people. In the sea, make sure that lifeguards are around. If something's to go wrong, then they're there, like coast guards as well, to come out and help you. So you can get back to shore if possible by using your board as a flotation device to help you paddle back, but if not, just to signal to the lifeguards and people around you. There's not many environmental factors, but the main ones, obviously, when being in the sea, animals like fish can get disturbed if you're falling in and making big splashes around the fish. It can make them want to move away from that area. And obviously coral reefs, so when you fall in, you could fall on the coral reefs, disturbing them, or the bottom of the board could be scraping along the bottom of the seabed, disturbing the coral reefs there as well. So thank you, that's it.